Welcome to our channel. In this video, we will tell you the 10 richest countries in Africa. So before starting, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for updates. Africa's growth's fundamentals are improving. There is a gradual shift towards investments and net exports, away from private consumption. In 2019, investment expenditure accounted for a larger share of GDP growth than private consumption. Net exports were also a strong contributor, particularly among commodity exporters. Long-term growth is driven mainly by physical capital accumulation, but human capital plays an important complementary role. Here are the 10 richest countries in Africa. Number 10. Tanzania. Tanzania, with a GDP of $62,224 billion over the last year. Known as the home of some of the continent's most famous national parks and of course Kilimanjaro, the country comprises a lower-middle mixed-income economy. The country's economy is largely based on agriculture, contributing almost 25% to GDP, and employing half of the workforce. Industries are a growing component of the economy, which accounts for almost 30% of GDP and includes mining, manufacturing, construction, electricity, natural gas, and water supply. The main exports include gold, coffee, cashew nuts, and cotton. Number 9. Ghana. Ghana, found in West Africa, has an economy that is both diverse and rich in resources. With a GDP of $67,077 billion, it just makes this list of wealthiest countries on the African continent, coming in at number 9. The country was the first in sub-Saharan Africa to break free from colonial rule as well as the first to achieve the target of having extreme poverty. The nation has attracted foreign investment due to its overall positive business environment, experienced economic growth of just over 6% in the last 2 years. Services contributes to around 50% of the Ghanaian GDP and employ almost 30% of the workforce. Industry is the next biggest contributor to GDP at just under 25%, followed by agriculture. Ghana has an abundance of natural resources, helping to fuel an economic boom. Gold is the country's main export. This is followed by petroleum, and together they make up 50% of the country's foreign exchange. Other major exports include cocoa beans, timber, and gold. Number 8. Ethiopia. Found in the Horn of Africa, the landlocked country of Ethiopia split by the Great Rift Valley is the 8th richest country in Africa. With archaeological finds dating back over 3 million years, this ancient land is famous for being the place where the coffee bean first originated. The nation is the highest coffee and honey producer in Africa, making up a large portion of the country's foreign exchange. Other exports include legumes, oilseeds, and cut flowers. The GDP of $91,166 billion comprises agriculture, construction, manufacturing, tourism, food processing, resources and energy. Agriculture is the region's most promising resource, making up over 40% of the GDP, 60% of exports, and more than 80% of total employment. However, high consumer inflation, socio-political instability, and an underdeveloped private sector are issues to keep an eye on. Number 7. Angola. The country of Angola has one of the biggest reserves of raw materials in Africa. Essentially, it could be higher up on this list of Africa's richest nations. However, due to resource mismanagement and internal corruption, the economy of the country has been negatively affected. With a GDP of over $90 billion, it comes in at number 7 on this list. Angola's economy is built on oil, with large reserves of natural gas and oil, making up over 1/3 of its GDP. The production and export of crude oil contribute significantly to foreign exchange. In fact, 90% of the nation's revenue in the export sector comes from the sale of crude oil. Other noteworthy exports include diamonds and cargo ships. Agriculture is also expected to become an important sector for the economy going forward. Number 6. Kenya. Kenya, a country in East Africa well known for its vast landscapes and wildlife, is next on Africa's richest country list, having a GDP of almost $100 billion. This nation, with its stable living conditions, an established coffee and tea sector, and rapidly growing agricultural sector, is the wealthiest in Southeast and Central Africa. The industrial sector contributes almost 50% of the GDP. The agricultural sector contributes to 35% of the GDP, with the main products being coffee, tea, and maize. Fast growth was also experienced in the tourism, financial services and technology industries, while petroleum comprises a significant part of its foreign exchange. Number 5. Morocco. With a GDP of almost $120 billion, Morocco comes in at number 5 on this list of richest countries in Africa. The economy of this country in North Africa is versatile and stable, experiencing growth in a number of industries over the last decade. It is the second richest non-oil producing African country. Morocco relies heavily on its agriculture and is the third largest producer of phosphorus in the world. The country has benefited greatly from its diversified exports, not limited to electrical equipment, vehicles, and vehicle parts. Additionally, the telecom and textile industries bring a lot to the economy. Number 4. Algeria. The largest country on the continent found in the north, Algeria comes in at 4th place on this list of wealthiest countries in Africa. Boasting a significant economy and available infrastructure and a GDP of over $170 billion, the country achieved a notable achievement of reducing poverty by 20% within the last 20 years. Crude oil reserves are abundant in this developing Saharan country and the economy is heavily reliant on it. So much so that hydrocarbons, oil and natural gas, make up almost 70% of the income of the country. A recent discovery of more crude oil reserves have boosted this rapidly growing industrial country. Other sectors that make up the Algerian economy include agriculture, industrial works, commercial services, and construction. The country is also one of the largest suppliers of ammonia in Africa. However, it is worth noting that the recent depression and instability in oil prices has resulted in a decline in the country's currency reserves. In addition, political uncertainty and scandals in the hydrocarbon industry have caused a dip in Algeria's economic growth. Number 3. Egypt. This ancient land in northern Africa held the spot of the richest country in Africa for many years. However, the economy suffered severely and foreign exchange reserves tumbled following the 2011 revolution during the Arab uprising. With the most recent GDP of over $300 billion, Egypt now holds the 3rd spot on this rich list. The leading factors of the Egyptian economy include petroleum and natural gas exports, tourism, wholesale and retail trade, construction, and real estate. The state has diversified its economy away from just raw material exports in recent years, and over half of the GDP now comes from service-based employment. Number 2. South Africa. This southernmost country in Africa is another significant player on the continent as the 2nd richest African country. With a highly developed economy, advanced infrastructure, and a GDP of over $350 billion, the country is considered one of the fastest developing countries in the world. Often referred to as the Rainbow Nation, South Africa is one of the only countries on this list that is not reliant on a single source of revenue. The country has a good mix of mining, manufacturing, financial services, and tourism. It is also abundant in natural resources and raw material exports, the likes of gold, diamonds, platinum, coal, and iron ore. It is one of the world's largest exporters of these commodities, particularly gold and platinum. The country is world-renowned as a major tourist destination and places a lot of emphasis on tourism as a part of its economy. Number 1. Nigeria. This West African country, with a population of over 200 million citizens, makes up an essential part of the African economy. With a GDP just under $450 billion, Nigeria holds the position of the richest country in Africa. The sizable GDP is mainly driven by finance, transport, infrastructure, tourism, and an abundance of crude oil. The country records around 1.6 million barrels of crude oil a day, according to OPEC, making it the largest exporter of crude oil in Africa. These petroleum exports make up 10% of the total GDP and over 80% of the export sector revenue. In addition to petroleum, Nigeria has an abundance of raw materials and natural resources, contributing to the region's wealth. These include coal, limestone, zinc, lead, tin, natural gas, niobium, and iron ore. There is also sufficient fertile land for agriculture, which is responsible for over 20% of the GDP, producing cocoa and rubber. The large population have helped to propel Nigeria as the largest consumer retailer in Africa, and the digitally aware residents have contributed to the country's fast-growing tech sector. So that's it for today. What do you think of our video? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and would like to hear more from us, please subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications before you go. Thanks for watching us.